We're glad to have you join us for these devotionals in our effort to stay connected during the COVID crisis and the disruption it's caused to our normal routines. Today we're looking at Psalm 3. Unlike Psalms 1 and 2, this is the first one that actually has a title and a description, a Psalm of David when he fled from Absalom, his son. This particular story is recounted in 2 Samuel 15 through about 18. It tells how Absalom plotted for 4 years to steal the hearts of the people away from his father and ultimately take control of the kingdom for himself. Former friends and counselors, as well as those with grudges against David, joined Absalom, who eventually arranged to have himself declared king in Hebron, about 20 miles south of Jerusalem. When David became aware of the rebellion, he fled for his life with many followers, enduring harassment from those who opposed him as they made their way to safety across the Jordan River. David and his entire entourage were described as weeping as they climbed the Mount of Olives, where God was worshipped. You can picture these events in the psalm where we find David crying out to God in distress, "Lord, how many are my foes? Many are rising against me. Many are saying of my soul, there is no salvation for him in God." Humanly speaking, David is in desperate straits. His own son has turned against him, and trusted advisors and hundreds of influential men have gone over to Absalom's side. He's forced to flee his home while people taunt him by saying his case is hopeless. God's not going to come to his rescue this time. In tears as he climbs the Mount of Olives, where people worshiped God before the temple was built under Solomon, David pleads his case before God and finds reassurance that in spite of present circumstances, God is still his shield and glory and the one who lifts up his head to face whatever may befall him. After a restful night's sleep, the Lord gives him strength to face the days ahead, even though thousands may oppose him. He calls on God to rise up and save him and strike his enemies down. And as the psalm closes, David confidently declares that salvation is the Lord's, and he calls upon him to bless his people, not merely himself. In our present crisis, people fear both the threat of deadly illness as well as economic disaster. Many are imagining worst-case scenarios, while others foolishly throw caution to the wind. However, if we have placed our trust in God, we can know that there is salvation in him, and true salvation in him alone, in the gift that he provides through the sacrifice of his Son in our place on the cross. We are safe in his arms. He is the shield about us, the one who enables us to lift our heads in the face of any crisis. We can rest confidently in the fact that nothing can separate us from the love of Christ, neither death nor life nor anything else in this whole creation. As the Apostle Paul instructed us, let's not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present our requests to God, and the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard our hearts and our minds in Christ Jesus. May God bless you.